In the Vertical Self-Management Center, a prison where inmates are identified by numbers and given limited amenities, Goreng wakes up in cell 48. He shares this space with Trimagesi, his only companion. Each day, a platform descends through a hole in the floor, delivering food for a brief period before continuing its descent to lower floors. The lower the floor, the scarcer the food. Monthly, inmates are moved to different levels. Initially, Goreng abstains from eating to spare food for those below, but later realizes this action is futile as uneaten food is discarded or burnt. Reflecting on his voluntary entry into the facility, motivated by the promise of a diploma, Goreng chooses to keep a copy of Don Quixote as his allowed personal item. Trimagesi, Goreng's cellmate, recounts his entry into the prison following an impulsive act of violence triggered by a television advertisement. He shares insights into the structure of the facility, revealing that food scarcity worsens with each descent. As their interactions continue, Goreng and Trimagesi grapple with the harsh realities of their environment, where survival depends on strategic choices and adaptation to the brutal conditions. Goreng, fearing the possibility of descending to lower levels, attempts to persuade inmates on other floors to ration their food, but his pleas are ignored. Trimagesi responds by urinating down to the lower floor and reveals that he brought a knife from a television advertisement as his personal item. Eventually, Goreng begins to eat when the platform returns, witnessing a person falling from the upper levels, a common occurrence according to Trimagesi. Trimagesi recounts his experiences on various floors and informs Goreng they will be together next month. Goreng realizes that cellmates are kept together during shuffling and deduces that Trimagesi consumed his previous cellmate when on lower levels. During the next platform visit, Miharu, injured and searching for her missing child, descends. Trimagesi explains her violent tactics to increase her chances of being paired with her child and reveals his own survival strategy of consuming the bodies of those who fall onto his floor. As the month ends, prisoners are rendered unconscious with gas and relocated. Goreng awakens tied to his bed on floor 171, Trimagesi citing self-preservation as the reason for restraining him. Amidst screams from other floors, the platform arrives with no food remaining. After 8 days, Trimagesi prepares to obtain food, disregarding Goreng's pleas. He uses his knife to extract meat from Goreng's thigh, but before consuming it, Miharu arrives on the platform. Miharu, grateful for Goreng's concern, takes revenge on Trimagesi by attacking him with his own knife and freeing Goreng. After incapacitating Trimagesi, she tends to Goreng's wounds, shares Trimagesi's body for sustenance, and then leaves without a word. As days pass, Trimagesi's body decomposes, providing Goreng with additional sustenance. However, he begins to experience hallucinations, haunted by Trimagesi's ghost judging him. At the end of the month, they are subjected to gas, and Goreng dreams of being with a woman only to wake up to a dog licking him. To his surprise, Goreng finds Imogiri, the woman who interviewed him during his volunteer process, as his new cellmate on level 33. Imogiri explains her own voluntary entry into the prison, unaware of the mortality rate. They discuss the insufficiency of food and the need for solidarity among inmates. When the platform brings food, Imogiri practices moderation and attempts to foster solidarity by sharing rations with lower levels. However, her efforts are futile, and Goreng cynically points out the administration's disinterest in promoting solidarity. Imogiri defends her belief in the administration's integrity, highlighting her previous work without issues. Goreng, however, asserts that her former status allowed her the privilege of choosing her cellmate, challenging her perception of the system's fairness. Imogiri persists in her efforts to ration food daily despite continuous disregard from the lower levels. Frustrated by her constant yelling, Goreng issues a threat. If they don't comply with Imogiri's instructions, he'll contaminate the food with his waste. The threat proves effective, and the message begins to spread downwards through the prisoners. One day, the platform descends with an unconscious Miharu on it. Goreng and Imogiri care for her while the dog pilfers food. However, when the platform departs, the cell rapidly chills, prompting Goreng to chase after the dog to retrieve the stolen food before they face repercussions. During the night, a conflict erupts between Miharu and Imogiri, culminating in Miharu killing the dog for food before departing on the platform the next day. Goreng shares with Imogiri Miharu's backstory of searching for her child, but Imogiri reveals Miharu's solitary arrival and her own decision to enter the prison due to terminal cancer, losing hope after realizing the severity of the situation. As their time on floor 33 nears its end, Goreng attempts to encourage Imogiri to eat, fearing food scarcity on the next level. However, Imogiri's depression immobilizes her. The following morning, Goreng awakens on floor 202, indicating more levels than Imogiri knew of. Overwhelmed, Imogiri tragically ends her life. Goreng is haunted by hallucinations of Trimagesi and Imogiri, urging him to consume her body to survive. Struggling to stave off hunger, Goreng resorts to eating pages from his book and marking the days on the wall. Eventually, driven by starvation, he reluctantly begins to feed on Imogiri, guided by Trimagesi's hallucination. Sometime later, the next shuffle occurs and Goreng finds himself on floor 6, relieved by the comparatively higher position. Initially startled by a dream of Miharu wielding a knife, Goreng's actual new cellmate is Baharat, who brought a rope as his chosen item. Excited about the prospect of climbing to the top using the rope, Baharat seeks help from level 5. Despite initial teasing, the couple above agrees to assist. However, their assistance turns grotesque as they defecate on Baharat, causing him to fall. Goreng manages to catch him. They lose the rope in the process. During mealtime on the platform, they endure the unsettling sounds of intimacy from the prisoners on level 5. Hallucinations of Trimagesi and Imogiri resurface, offering words of encouragement and caution. Inspired by Imogiri's reminder that change doesn't occur spontaneously, Goreng devises a plan with Baharat. They decide to jump on the platform armed with improvised weapons to enforce food rationing and ensure everyone can eat. Traveling down to level 7, Goreng emphasizes the importance of withholding food until level 50, where people struggle the most. Despite Baharat's initial hesitation due to his friendship with some prisoners, he eventually agrees after witnessing an aggressive reaction. Continuing their journey downward, they encounter Brambang, an esteemed figure whom Baharat respects. Brambang supports their mission but highlights the need for a symbol to appeal to the workers on level 0. Choosing a panna cotta as a symbolic gesture, Baharat and Goreng persist in their mission, safeguarding the dessert while intimidating others to maintain food distribution discipline. As Baharat and Goreng progress downwards, they distribute rations of food, earning gratitude from the inmates. On level 97, they encounter an ill old man and a mentally disabled boy. Despite Goreng's attempt to help the old man, the boy reveals his intention to kill the man for sustenance. Reaching a level with only a body, presumably where Miharu was previously, they realize there are more than 250 floors. On the subsequent floor, they intervene in an attack on Miharu by 2 men, one armed with a sword and the other physically imposing. Despite a challenging struggle, Baharat and Goreng manage to defeat the assailants, but Miharu succumbs to her injuries. Though Goreng wishes to mourn Miharu, Baharat insists they leave on the platform before it departs. Continuing their descent, they encounter many floors with only corpses. Eventually, they reach level 333, seemingly the last one. Discovering Mali, the missing child, hiding under a bed, they decide to stay on the floor. However, Baharat refuses to throw the symbolic panna cotta into the hole. Surprisingly, there are no consequences, and after much deliberation, Baharat gives the dessert to Mali. Haunted by hallucinations of Trimagesi, Imogiri, and Miharu, Goreng is urged by Baharat to recognize Mali as the message. Upon awakening, Goreng finds Baharat has succumbed to his injuries. When the platform returns, Goreng takes Mali with him to floor 0, which is dark and empty. Trimagesi appears, telling Goreng to step off the platform as he's not part of the message. Together, they watch as Mali is lifted up, hoping she will reveal the reality of the situation to the abusers above. Make sure to subscribe if you like the recap and turn on the bell icon.